So my month didn't really go as planned. Hi everyone, it's Aurora and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Hello. So it is the last video of the month, so I thought I'd actually have a bit of a catch up on my last sort of like plannery video, and that is how my goals have gone for the month. Spoiler alert, it's really bad. And how I'm going to use what I've learned about my goals going right and wrong to set my next month's goals. Now, the reason I set monthly goals and not quarterly goals is that I can look back over 4 weeks pretty much from memory and go, oh yeah, this and this and this happened, this and this and this didn't happen, and I can see exactly where I went wrong without having to consult a diary and really go into it and make sure I've made all the right notes, because if you get sick, you're not really taking loads of notes and getting all the information down and things like that, or you just forget some days to write things down. Bits happen, things go wrong. So, that said, the other thing about it being a month is that I find it easier to stay on top and actually remember to do the damn goals. If I've got it like for 3 months, I can start out with the best intentions, but I tend to forget. And also it means I can set 3 goals and it feels doable. And when I set my goals, it's all things that are very much within my control for the most part, because as we're going to discover, things can be out of your control and things just don't happen. So that said, let's crack on. So my first goal was a non-writing one, and that was to exercise 3 days a week. I got ill. I've only really stopped coughing and constantly blowing my nose the weekend. So I wasn't going to be exercising when I wasn't feeling great. I am going to actually keep that goal for next month, and eventually it just won't be a goal at all for exercising, because it will just be a habit and it will just be a part of my morning routine. So that's going to stay. That's not actually going to change for February. My next one was to get ahead on filming. And considering I missed a week, I think we can assume that also has not happened. So where did it go wrong? Well, my first week back when I was supposed to be filming, I got really ill. I had a really nasty cold. It just didn't happen. The following week, I was still kind of feeling really crummy, and you could still hear it in my voice, and I wasn't great. Last week was the first time I really felt like the brain fog was starting to lift, and I was feeling well enough to even think about doing stuff. And I just didn't have the time. It was a short week for me anyway, because I had other stuff going on. It was also my birthday weekend. I turned 39. So stuff just didn't happen. And frustrating, but what can you do? I will stick that out for next month as well. I am going to say I want to get a week ahead, rather than trying to stress out and go, oh, if I have to have like 3 weeks ahead, and then I've got a whole, if anything happens for like a month, like I break a leg, or I end up in hospital because of something stupid. And this is me. Could happen. Also, I'm getting older. Of course I'm going to get hurt or do something stupid, because in my head, I'm still 21. And anyway, but having a week ahead, I can work with that. It's not adding too much extra stress. It means I've still got time to plan videos as well and be a bit more relaxed about it, rather than getting really intense and being really like, must film 8 times a day. Do I have the time and space for it? No, but I'm going to do it anyway. Being sensible, trying to stay calm and say, here is something a bit more succinct to say, no, I'm going to have to do 1 extra video a month. And then I've always got, that buffer then grows gradually, which I can live with. Anyway, final goal, and this is the one that people are actually probably the most interested in, and it's my writing goal. I have named my current work in progress project Love Rats. That's what I'm going to be calling it going forward. And it's about, it's set in Cornwall, and it's about rodent rescue and the woman who runs it. So anyway, that didn't go great either. I started really strong with this. I was at 5,000 words at the start of the month, and I was like, it's brilliant. I've got 20,000 words, and I've got like a whole month ahead of me. And of course, then I got ill, and I could not write. I did not open my laptop. I had really severe brain fog. My head was killing me. I was getting headaches. No writing got done for that first week. And the second was pretty similar. Towards the end of the second week, I also realised I had a problem. I hated my chapter 3. I had just started on my male POV, and it just, I knew I was missing details for that chapter, and I eventually came up with them. I tried to cram them into what I already had written, and in my head I'm going, just restart this. This is stupid. Just restart it. It's fine. You can restart it. You don't do it all the time, but just on this, it makes sense. And I dug my heels in for about a week. And finally, I just went, okay, you're not gaining a word count here by doing nothing. So, and you're struggling through it. I just decided to restart the chapter. And within 2 days, I had started chapter 4 and chapter 3 was done and dusted. Then I started chapter 4. I wrote about half of it, went, nope, this is all bad, this is all wrong, got to nix it. But that afternoon, I had the time, I had the mental capacity, and I just went, right, that's it. Sit down, and I rewrote the whole first half of the chapter. In theory, I could have had chapter 4 written if I'd got it right the first time. But here we are. So I dropped about 2,000 to 3,000 words. So actually, while I'm currently sat at 11,000 words, it should be about 13,000, and I'm hoping to hit, 15,000 by the end of the month. 10,000 off of what I wanted, but being ill, not accepting that I just wasn't, planned enough, and little things like that, I'm fine with that. It's cool. The other thing is I did sort of look back and go, hang on, I've pretty consistently been plotting or writing since August with no real break. I had like 3 days off of the Christmas period. Excuse me. And that was it. I just didn't give myself enough rest. And eventually my mind and my body went, we are going to get sick and then you have to rest. Fine. So yeah, I kind of, brought it on myself where things went a bit awry there. So yeah, what's that going to give me for going into February? Well, one, it's a short month. I am not expecting 25,000 words. I'm going to knock that back to 20. That would still, if I hit 15,000 words at the end of this month, mean that by the end of the end of February, I will have 35,000 words. That's about halfway through the project. It's pretty solid, man. Like, that's where I want to be. I mean, actually, no, I would rather be 2/3 of the way through and, have it done by the end of March, which was the original plan. But I am not currently, having to answer to anyone other than myself with this. So if it means that I finish about halfway through April, I'm about 2 weeks behind, I'm going to stress over that, Like, I'm happy with that. There are plenty of people who get way further into a project than me and go, actually, rewriting it from scratch and, putting themselves behind, it's fine, And I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I failed in all of my plans of, all of my goals for the month. That means the whole year's a write-off. It's like, no, it's really not. Because I could see everything was either me pushing myself too hard or getting ill. I didn't give myself enough rest over the Christmas period. So my body forced it. I wasn't able to get everything done because I got sick. It's fine. I can take what I've learned and say, okay, exercise should be able to get back on track with. That's cool. Writing, I'm behind. I have to accept that. But it's not by a lot. And I'm just a couple of good writing days away from being, where I need to be and back on track. So we'll see how it goes. So anyway, that's all I've got for you today. And yeah, look, leave me a comment down below how your January has gone. Have you achieved your plans? I really hope yours went better than me. Give me a like if you found this video helpful or interesting, because it really helps my channel. And if you are not subscribed, give me a subscribe. Again, it really helps out my tiddly little channel. And I will see you next week. I am going to be talking about a book again, doing a review. And I'm going to be doing it a little bit different from what I would normally do in my previous reviews. And I will see you later, guys. Bye!